Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brian Hartman. I am the president partner of Pharus Global. That's our ecosystem of businesses here to help businesses grow, scale up, and then eventually prepare for their exit, whether it be retirement or handing it down to their kids. They'd like to maximize value and make sure everything is in order. We do everything from financial management and bookkeeping to HR, full service recruiting, management training, payroll, PEO. We do commercial and residential mortgage brokerage. We do residential and commercial real estate. We do personal and commercial lines of insurance, medical practice management, billing, coding, and credentialing, and a whole lot more. We're located at 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie in the Ferris Plaza Shopping Center. So come by and see us. We have coffee and occasional donuts every now and then. How about that? And today I am very excited to have with us Danna Olivo of MarketAtomy. And we are going to be talking about in episode number 39 today, 5 phases of growth for early stage businesses. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. To me, it's a sector that kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes out there. So excited to learn more about that. And with that, let's all give a nice welcome to Danna Olivo. Hello, Danna.
Hey, Brian, I'm glad to be here. Oh, my goodness, you have your own building, too, named after you.
We do. We've got it all going on here in Port St. Lucie. It's very cool. Thank you for recognizing that. Appreciate that.
Yes.
And we do also have offices over in Tampa and now in North Carolina. So we're making our way around.
Wow.
So exciting times.
No, that is great.
So we are excited to have you. And I'd like to start off, Danna, by having you tell us a little bit of your background. What made you get to this point to start MarketAtomy and the Academy? And I love that rhymes together. It's awesome. And so tell us what was your driving factor and what are you doing?
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I've got about 35, 36 years in the marketing, business development, strategic planning market. Approximately 28 to 30 years of that was spent within the architectural, engineering, and construction market. I like to joke around that I have cement in my blood. My dad was a contractor, and I went into the business more on the marketing, business development side. Started out in the product development side with Hunter Douglas and other manufacturers. Went in spec development, design, a couple of architectural firms. Then went into construction and aftermarket. So I learned every logistical cycle within this industry. And the reason being is because I needed to know who I was marketing to.
Sure.
Okay. That is important. That's the strategic element, is understanding, who you're marketing to when you're talking about strategically reaching out. All right. In 2009, I was laid off. Within the industry,
a lot of people
at the peak of the recession. And at that time, I did not see things turning around here for many years. But the only country that was coming out of the recession faster than anybody was Brazil. And Brazil had just won both the FIFA Game Awards and the Summer Olympic Award. So they were getting ready to have, to break loose on the infrastructure that needed to be built down there. And with my experience, I knew the timing, I knew what needed to be done. So I took myself into Brazil and started creating those relationships for companies here in the US that were having to shut their doors, losing jobs, et cetera, so that they could partner with companies down in Brazil in preparation for the games.
Gotcha.
So that started a 3.5-year process down there until they started reaching their, economic recession, and we kind of pulled back, and there were other things that led up to me pulling back, including I had a very major accident down there. I was hit by one of Brazil's city buses crossing the street to my apartment. So, yeah.
That's interesting. I bet not everybody can say that, huh?
I can honestly say I know what it feels like to be hit by a Mack truck.
Yeah.
But that started the process towards MarketAtomy and what we're doing now. I've had 2 failed businesses in my past. So, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Okay, so
that means you don't give up.
No, you don't. And that's exactly it. You don't give up. So after the second failure, I put myself back into school and went back and got my BS degrees in both marketing and management information systems.
Okay.
During that time, I realized and learned what I didn't know about running a business and growing a business. Okay. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody can put themselves back into college at the expense and everything. I was in a position I could.
Right.
So MarketAtomy was developed because when I got back from Brazil, during the year of recovery and everything else, the surgeries I had to go through, I had a lot of colleagues, people that I had known in the industry for many years, come to me and say, Danna, I can't understand what I'm doing wrong. They had started their own businesses during the recession and they were bleeding money. They couldn't understand what was happening. Well, in the process of trying to work with them, I realized they really did not know what they didn't know about their business. They had a good product or service, but they did not have the infrastructure to grow and build a business around it.
Right.
So in the process of trying to educate them and help them, we came up with MarketAtomy. MarketAtomy is a concept that I have developed, which is built around the human body. Okay. And basically what it is the heart of the human body. That is your why. That's your passion, right? It's the same in business. The heart of the business, that's your passion. That's why you do what you do. Okay.
Love it. Yep.
In the human body, the brain is your, it sends all the signals to the heart. It basically keeps it running, right?
Sure. Yep.
All right. Well, in the business, it's the same thing. In the brain of the business, that's your playbook. That's where your systems are, your processes. That's where your products and services, descriptions, everything is up in the brain. But in the human body, can the heart operate without the brain?
Nope.
No. And vice versa. Okay. It's the same thing in business. You need the heart and brain working cohesively together to push your marketing message out through the veins of the body, which are your marketing channels, to the body, which is your market. All right. Right.
Yep.
But let's take it one step further. The soul of the business is you. As the owner of the business, it's your passion that drives that business. So with that being said, you can't bring customers in. You can't attract those customers and bring them in unless you have that whole system in place. So that's where MarketAtomy came about.
That's awesome. Love that whole description. And I'll tell you the one thing that comes to mind, I'm sure almost everybody's watched Shark Tank before.
Oh yeah.
How many times do you hear Mr. Wonderful say, you've got a great product, but you don't have a business, so I can't invest, I'm out.
Right.
And so they need to be able to understand the anatomy or the MarketAtomy of the business, right?
And that's exactly it. So since that, in introducing, we rebranded as MarketAtomy in 2015, okay? And then what we've done is we've taken it a step further. My heart is working with those early stage businesses because like you said early on, it is a market that is underserved. We here, we're the land of the free, okay? The United States, it's that's what we are. But we make it so easy to start a business, but not to survive in business.
Sure.
All right. The programs that are out there that are federally funded don't start helping businesses until they're already in revenue.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is the chicken and egg and the egg syndrome. Okay. You can't get to revenue unless you build the business.
That's right.
And you need help to build that business to get to revenue. Right. That's where MarketAtomy comes in.
Fantastic.
Okay. So prior to COVID, I was doing a lot of my education, a lot of my mentoring. Everything that I was doing was all one-on-one seminars, conferences, things like that. What happened was COVID. And with COVID, everything stopped.
Yep.
Well, I always wanted to start an e-learning platform. I always wanted to build an e-learning platform because a lot of small businesses could not afford my mentoring fees. I have to make money still,
Sure.
As much as my heart is in there. And so I said, okay, there's got to be a way I can get this education to them at a price point that they could afford. And that's where MarketAtomy.academy came in.
Love that name. It's fantastic.
Yeah. COVID started and I said, okay, this is the perfect time for me to sit down and build that academy. So for the next 20 months, that's what I did. I took a lot of my IP, my teachings, everything, and have incorporated them into an online learning academy that has been developed with the small business owner in mind. Okay. It's affordable. It answers the questions, where do I start? What do I do next? Okay. It teaches them, and the courses that are provided are more than just marketing. It's the operations, it's cash flow. How do we do what we need to do? And then along with the academy, what we do is we provide educational webinars.
Fantastic.
So yeah, and then we also have a weekly podcast series that we do called Charged Up Studio.
Nice.
So it's a entire environment that is built around small business owners.
It's awesome. And that like I mentioned, that's such a forgotten sector out there. There's not enough help for the business owner that's just starting out there. Mm-hmm. Very hard to be able to find resources for it. And before we continue, Danna, I just wanted to mention to everybody watching us live out there, if you have any questions or comments or just want to say hi, drop them into the comment section wherever you might be, Facebook or LinkedIn or even on YouTube. And Danna and I will be happy to address those questions. And certainly we'll say hi back to you if you say hello to us. Pete, thank you for liking the show. We appreciate that. Looking forward to learning more about, we're going to be talking about the 5 phases of growth for early stage businesses. And again, very few times do you hear about things for early stage businesses. So I'm looking forward to that. So why don't we start off, Danna, by answering what are the 5 phases of growth for early stage businesses?
I would love to, because it's, I love when I come up with these things, and they come to me through my efforts with small businesses. All right. So again, the 5 phases still fall within the MarketAtomy concept. So the first phase is the see it phase. That is your napkin stage phase. That is where the ideas come to you. There's not a lot of preparation that has to go into that phase. A lot of dreaming. You got a great idea, okay? But it's only an idea until you start putting feet to it. So the next phase is the prove it phase. Before you start building that business, you want to make sure that it's a viable product or service. So you need to go out into the market. You need to do your research. You need to make sure that you can price this product or service to a point where it's going to be profitable for you.
How many businesses totally skip that part?
All of them, just about all of them do. They jump from the see it straight into the build it phase, which is the next phase. Okay. So the reason you want to do the prove it phase is because you don't want to get into the build it phase and realize after spending thousands of dollars developing this business that nobody wants it. Nobody wants to pay for it. So we want to make sure that before you go and spend that money, that's why businesses bleed money, is they do it without a plan of action. I'm a strategist. I'm sorry. You have to put a plan together.
Yep.
All right. So the build it phase is, yeah.
Business plans, put it on paper.
And it doesn't even have to be a full business plan, just a mind map or something that is going to give you some kind of an idea or a sequence to what the process is. Okay. The build it phase is going to be your longest phase. This is where you are actually building that infrastructure around your business. This is where you're going to be testing the market. This is where you're going to be building your revenue streams. You're going to be doing your marketing. This is the phase where it will take anywhere from 18 to 24, 30 months before you start breaking even. All right. But during that phase is where you're going to perfect what your offering is.
Right.
All right. You eventually get to a point where you are profitable, but you're ready to take it to the next level. But it's going to cost you money. Then you move on to phase 4, which is the funding phase. All right. This is where you're going to start thinking, okay, do I want to go for bank funding or angel funding or venture capital,
right,
or private equity funding? You know, all of these are options to you. But what a lot of small business owners don't realize, they think that they can come up with an idea and immediately go for venture funding or go for angel funding. And what they don't realize is these investments do not come on just an idea.
Right.
Okay. You've got to have some equity in there. You've got to have some revenues coming in. You've got to show, if you want to hold on to your company, you've got to show that you have what's needed to support that equity, that funding that you're going to go get. Otherwise, you're going to be giving away your company, because at an early stage, an angel investor coming in or a venture capitalist coming in are going to require a good portion of your company because they are taking the risk.
Sure.
They're taking the financial risk.
I think the other part of that challenge is a lot of business owners simply aren't aware of all the different options too that are available out there.
No, that's exactly it. You know, and that's another thing during the funding phase. You know, what you're going to learn is you learn about the different types of business plans. All right. There's the investment plan. There's the equity plan. There is your basic marketing plan, which is what you normally start with when you're early stage in your business. All right. Investors, bankers especially, bankers want to know that you've got the revenue coming in every month to pay back that loan. Okay. Investors, they want to know, what's the return on investment? Okay. What am I going to get out of this? You're getting this money from me. What am I going to get out of it? What are the returns going to be?
And how long is that going to take?
Right. And therefore, they're going to want to know, okay, you've examined everything about that could go wrong with the business.
Right.
They want you to be able to tell them, how are you going to market this product or service? What's the market look like? How big is the market? What do you plan on doing scaling? Okay, which is the next phase. The 5th phase is the growth phase. Okay, that is where you take the money that you have gained through the funding phase and you put it into expanding and scaling, 10xing your company.
Right.
Okay, so those are the 5 phases.
I like the 10x part at the end.
Yes.
Not 5x, but 10x. Yes. I like that. Go big or go home, right?
Yeah, it's so important for small and medium business owners to understand the process that goes into scaling and growing a company.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely the ones that don't do well are skipping 1 or 2 of those phases along the way. So, and talking about that, where do most entrepreneurs actually fail when they're launching and growing a business? What phase would you say?
Oh goodness. There's several different things. There's a lot of reports out there that says, that businesses fail because of lack of leadership, lack of cash flow, all of this, which is true. But I am a firm believer that with education, you can avoid those. Okay. So my belief is the reason small businesses fail is because they don't know what they don't know. Okay. That's the number one reason. The main things that a lot of small business owners do, first of all, is they're self-funded, which is not a problem, okay? But you don't want to be dipping into your 401k, okay? You don't want to be mortgaging your home if you don't have the knowledge base that's needed.
Right.
Okay? Because you're just going to bleed money. Secondly, if you're going to borrow money, make sure that the money borrowed goes towards revenue generation. Okay? Not to buy a car or buy a building or anything like that. Okay? Unless it is needed to produce the product or service that you're offering.
Good point.
Okay? So you want to make sure that the money that is borrowed is put right back into revenue generation. Marketing costs are revenue generators. Okay? That's a viable. If you need to purchase fleet cars or something like that, if you have a mobile service or something, that's revenue generation because you're building that into the cost of the product.
Right.
Right. The other thing that a lot of small businesses, especially early stage businesses, do is they undervalue what they sell. Okay. And thinking that they have to compete on price. That is not the case. You're better off looking at how you're going to generate more value for the price you're charging.
Right.
Okay. So let's look at your pricing strategy. And if you're going to use a middleman, you need to keep that in mind.
Right. No,
So
I think
those are the main ones.
I think that's a great point. Is that all the time you hear business owners saying, "Well, we've got to lower the price because so and so has got it at this price." Well, that's you may on the surface think that that's the case, but if you're also able to show that you're doubling the value for what they're paying for, right? And even if it's throwing in a free item to go with it, and bundle it, you don't necessarily have to take a hit on the price just to be able to make the sale. I think the other thing is that there's such a lack of awareness in the market. There's very few companies like yours that help these stage businesses.
Right.
And then without the right mentorship, when they go for funding, if one bank says no, they think they don't have a viable business, and they immediately close shop.
No, you're right.
And really, the reality of it is that particular lender might not have wanted to do it, but the one down the street may be interested in the business.
And you never know. And look at what you learn from every rejection. There is a lesson to be learned. Right. So that the next one you go to, maybe what you do is you adjust your offering or whatever it is that you're doing, and you adjust it for the next one. Okay. Learn from every rejection that you get. It's lessons learned. That's what it is, So yeah, I agree.
So just a shout out to Christina. That's my girlfriend. She just put a heart around our show. So thank you,
Christina.
We appreciate that. And so following along, we talked about where most entrepreneurs fail. Why is it important to understand the sequential process for growth and stay along that path?
The reason being is because you're going to have those roadblocks. Okay. There's a difference between a strategist and a sequential strategist. Okay. A strategist will help you get from point A to point B. All right. They can give you a plan of action, go from point A. As a sequential strategist, which is what I am, okay, what we do is we examine what could happen and let's plan 2 or 3 different routes, okay, that could be taken. Just like your GPS in your car when there's an accident or something. There's got to be another way of doing things. It would have been nice with COVID, okay, when COVID happened, to whereas we could have predicted this happening.
Right.
Nobody could predict it happening. I mean, Disney World shut down. Sea World shut down.
Yep.
Can you imagine the revenue lost while they were down?
You were actually able to drive I-4 like a race car driver, weren't you?
If you went out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I was stuck in the house for months.
Yeah.
Building my e-learning environment.
Well, there was good that came out of it, so that's
good. But it would have been nice to be able to have predicted what would have happened. Okay.
Sure.
But most potential roadblocks, you can build alternative routes. You can build alternative strategies for, strictly by looking at lessons learned from other, small businesses, things like that. The other thing is that as a business owner, it's your responsibility to keep an eye on the market.
Sure.
Okay? It's great to be able to know your company inside and out, where the gaps are in your company. And I guarantee you, there are a lot of companies out there that don't realize the gaps, where their clients or whatever is dropping through the cracks. Okay? So it's great to know your company, but if you are not monitoring on a regular basis your competition, the market, not only your direct competition, but your secondary competition. Okay. If you're not watching what's happening, where's technology going? Right. By taking advantage of what you can build those alternative strategies to take advantage of it. You can also predict when it's going to happen and be ahead of the game, with the competition. When I was in the architectural engineering and construction market, before I was laid off, in fact, it was not long before I was laid off, I saw on the marketing side, I would respond to public RFPs, okay, with the federal government and state and municipal RFPs. And I saw us within a 30-day period go from competing against maybe 6 companies for a project to competing against 30, 40 different companies for a project. All right. That was one blaring sign right there. All right. The other thing was I saw that marketing directors, marketing assistants, a lot of your marketing and salespeople were jumping around to different companies. That's another thing that you want to keep an eye on. Sure. How many companies are reducing staff, or how many staff employees are just leaving?
Right.
Keep an eye on your competition. What's happening with the competition? Because that's going to give you heads up on what's happening within the market. I knew that things were happening. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew that we were headed towards something. Right? I had been in the market for 30 years. I had gone through the commercial recession, which was in the early 80s, I think it was. I went through that working with John Hancock, and then they ended up closing their doors as real estate analyst. Okay. So I've gone through a couple of cycles. Those cycles are going to come every 10 years. Every 10 years. But if you don't watch the market, you're going to be caught with your pants down.
Yep, I agree.
So as a strategist, that's one thing I can tell you. You want to keep an eye out for the market. I was trying to tell the company I was with, you need to start cross-training. They were just letting all my people go. There was a point I was putting out 104 proposals a year. That's 2.5 proposals a month.
Right.
or a week. That's a lot of
week,
work.
yeah.
You know, so it's you can burn your employees out so fast. And speaking of employees, we've lost a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
We've lost a lot of them. I read a report. We've had an 83% increase in new business license applications since the beginning of COVID here in the U.S. So when you have an 18 to 24-month period there before businesses are failing,
Yeah.
what are we looking at 2 years down the road?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for small businesses. Okay. But they don't know about it.
Right. That part I wholeheartedly agree with. I was in the banking industry and commercial lending for over 25 years. The hardest thing was having to decline a business owner that was trying really hard and had no direction to go after that. They just didn't know. I always tried to give them at least one or two outlets. Try this, but that doesn't happen very often out there. And I just can't imagine how many businesses just close because they don't know that there's other options available out there.
There's a lot of other options. Even though you don't think there's options with the federal government. A lot of small businesses don't know that there is a no bid federal contracting program that the federal government has. They don't have to compete against the big companies. They don't have to have pre-existing revenue. All they have to do is they have to show the government that they know what they're doing, have experience, okay, that they have the infrastructure in place to support the contract, and they can go after these contracts and win them without competing. All right. And by law, the federal government has to pay within 30 days. So that's a that's a win-win situation there.
That's a great tip right there. I hope people are listening.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah. So a lot of benefits for following this process, and much more disadvantage to these business owners that are not paying attention to all the different phases for growth.
Yeah.
Success.
Yeah. Coaching.
Absolutely.
Oh, I can't emphasize enough. You got to have a coach, a personal coach.
It's mind-boggling to me that when you're in sports as an athlete, you have a coach, right? Yeah. All the time, right? But business owners, I don't know if it's a pride thing, but they insist that I could do this on my own. I don't need anybody's help, and sometimes it really is a tremendous benefit to bounce ideas off of somebody that knows.
Every program that MarketAtomy offers comes with group coaching and mastermind opportunities.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
They have to have that accountability to make sure that they continue to move that needle forward.
That's great. So just to recap real quick, for the businesses that are early stage, that are just starting out, or have been around the block maybe once, it's a great opportunity for them to reach out to you on two counts. One is now they can get some education and also be able to get the mentorship that they need to be able to help them grow, right?
Right. Exactly.
So let's, for the listeners, how does somebody get in touch with you, Danna, to be able to work with you and take their business to the next level?
Well, my email is right there, danna.olivo@marketatomy.com. Our e-learning environment is marketatomy.academy.
Fantastic.
Our podcast is chargedupstudio.live.
Excellent.
You can reach me. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can reach me at Danna Olivo on LinkedIn, Facebook. We've got MarketAtomy Facebook page, everything. But if you reach out to me, I can send you a calendar link, and we can set up a one-on-one. I offer free 30-minute consultations.
Fantastic. So excited that we connected, Danna, because you're the beginning and we are like the middle, and then we can help them get to the end
Right.
goal, right?
Right.
Fantastic combination. Really looking forward to continuing to work with you. Appreciate you being on. And for those of you that would like more information about Pharus Global, just go to pharusglobal.com. You can get my contact information there. We'd love to have you as our next guest on the show, to be able to come on and tell us a little bit about your company and what you're doing to help and build the community out there. Danna, thank you very much again. Was there anything before we go that we might not have touched on that you'd like to share?
Yes. As far as the federal no bid contracting, we do have a virtual masterclass coming up on February 22nd at 6 p.m. And you can go to MarketAtomy.com/no-bid-federal-contracts.
Awesome. And if you'd like more information about that as well, you can reach out to me or to Danna. You have her contact information. That will be on a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, you said, February 22nd.
Yes.
So I think that's a great opportunity, folks. So don't miss out on that. And hopefully you stay to watch till the end to get that little tidbit. So Danna, thank you again for joining us tonight. And
thank you, Brian. No, I really appreciate it.
We look forward to working with you and seeing all the good things you're doing in the future. Okay. Have a great night, Danna.
All right. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.